Before the rise of the great civilizations known to history, stories about an impossible kingdom already circulated among the ancient peoples of the north. A land surrounded by celestial lights, gigantic mountains dominating the frozen horizon, seas covered by eternal mists, monumental cities built in regions considered uninhabitable. The Greeks called that place Hyperborea, the legendary land beyond the north wind. For centuries, these stories were treated merely as mythology, but there is something deeply curious. Civilizations separated by oceans and continents preserved nearly identical elements. Beings descending from the heavens, forbidden knowledge, gigantic peoples, structures aligned with the stars, kingdoms destroyed by cataclysms. The Norse peoples kept these memories alive through the mythology of the 9 worlds, realms connected by the gigantic cosmic structure known as Yggdrasil, the tree of life, the axis sustaining all existence. For a long time, Yggdrasil was viewed only as a spiritual symbol, but some modern interpretations suggest something far more disturbing. Yggdrasil may have represented an ancient network connecting different civilizations scattered across the planet. A structure linking isolated territories of the ancient world, or perhaps even different layers of reality itself. The ancients described the 9 worlds as separate places, yet many details within these stories seem strangely connected to the physical world. At the center of that system stood Asgard, the realm of the gods, a colossal civilization located in the far north. The stories spoke of gigantic towers, celestial observatories, and knowledge far beyond ordinary humanity. Asgard was connected to the other realms through the luminous bridge known as Bifrost, a passage between worlds. Perhaps ancient roots, perhaps energy structures, perhaps technologies later interpreted as divine after the disappearance of that ancient knowledge. Odin ruled Asgard, guardian of wisdom, associated with the mysteries of the universe, the heavens, and the pursuit of absolute knowledge. Thor represented dominion over storms, the force of the skies, the power capable of altering the environment itself. Heimdall watched over every passage, the guardian of the borders between worlds. Loki symbolized imbalance, the beginning of the fracture, the force that would eventually drive the entire order toward collapse. The other realms described in Norse tradition also carried remarkably peculiar characteristics. Midgard was the world of men, perhaps ordinary humanity attempting to rebuild civilization after ancient global catastrophes. Jotunheim was associated with giants, impossible mountains, colossal beings, primitive forces, as though ancient peoples had preserved distorted memories of ancestral civilizations vastly different from modern humanity. Svartalfheim emerged as an underground realm, a territory hidden beneath the surface, gigantic caverns, hidden cities, knowledge preserved in the depths of the earth. Helheim appeared as a region dominated by cold and destruction, devastated lands, forgotten ruins, vestiges of a world consumed by ice. Muspelheim represented absolute fire, colossal eruptions, oceans of lava, burning skies, as though ancient cultures had preserved memories of events capable of completely transforming the planet. Vanaheim was linked to nature and balance, a territory associated with fertility, life, and profound knowledge about the functioning of the earth itself. Alfheim appeared connected to light, the heavens, and energy, astronomy, consciousness, celestial knowledge, while Niflheim represented frozen chaos, eternal mists, violent storms, the absolute dominion of primordial cold. Each realm seemed to preserve fragments of different regions, civilizations, or states of existence. And there is one detail impossible to ignore. Nearly all of these stories revolve around the idea of connection. Connection between worlds, between consciousness and reality, between the heavens and humanity. Some modern interpretations suggest that ancient peoples may have viewed the universe as a vast network of energy, frequency, and perception, as though all reality were interconnected through something invisible. And perhaps Yggdrasil symbolized exactly that, a structure connecting civilizations, knowledge, and consciousness. The Vikings themselves preserved these stories for centuries, navigators of the far north, warriors surrounded by storms, violent seas, and skies illuminated by gigantic auroras. They believed the gods had once walked among mankind in a distant past. The sagas spoke of impossible wars, celestial bridges, ancient creatures, and a great destruction that would bring an end to the old order. Ragnarok, the end of the gods, the collapse of the realms, the fall of Yggdrasil. The signs described in the legends were deeply disturbing. Skies consumed by fire, storms devastating entire continents, oceans advancing over cities, mountains splitting apart, the brutal advance of ice, luminous phenomena dominating the heavens, as though the ancients were attempting to describe fragmented memories of a great global cataclysm. Other cultures preserved strikingly similar stories. The Greeks spoke of Atlantis, an advanced civilization destroyed by the sea. Stories about Hyperborea described a lost kingdom surrounded by ice and auroras. Ratanaba emerged as a possible hidden refuge beneath the Amazon. Agartha became associated with subterranean worlds, as though all these legends were isolated fragments of the same ancient planetary system. Stories about giants also appear in nearly every ancient culture. The Norse spoke of Jotunheim. The Bible described the Nephilim. Other civilizations preserved accounts of colossal beings connected to the world before the collapse. Fragments of an ancestral memory scattered throughout human history. As modern technology advances, new discoveries continue feeding these theories. Structures hidden beneath the ice, gigantic geometries revealed by satellites, ruins concealed beneath dense forests, vestiges of civilizations far more sophisticated than we once imagined. All of this begins to raise an impossible question to ignore. What if the 9 worlds were never merely mythology? What if Asgard truly existed, not as a magical kingdom, but as an extraordinarily advanced civilization later reinterpreted by ancient peoples as the dwelling place of the gods? A kingdom connected to Hyperborea, linked to the worlds of Yggdrasil, part of a global system destroyed by the great cataclysms of the past. The Vikings themselves may have been the final inheritors of that forgotten memory. They navigated guided by the stars, preserved runes considered sacred, built temples dedicated to the ancient gods, sang stories about ancestral creatures, colossal wars, and vanished kingdoms. While much of Europe abandoned the old beliefs, the peoples of the north still preserved fragments of that ancient knowledge. Runes, sagas, cosmic symbols, maps, legends about bridges between worlds, representations of gigantic serpents surrounding reality itself, as though part of the memory of the ancient world still survived among the frozen seas of the north. And then comes Ragnarok, not merely as a mythological battle, but as the definitive collapse of that ancient order. The disappearance of Asgard, the destruction of the realms, the severing of the connection between worlds, the advance of ice across once habitable lands, the oceans consuming entire civilizations, the heavens changing completely, and the survivors preserving only fragments of what existed before. Stories, religions, myths, sagas, memories scattered among cultures across the planet. Because beneath the auroras of the far north, hidden among ice, ruins, and ancient legends, the echoes of Asgard still seem to survive. Some mysteries were never meant to be forgotten. Ancient civilizations, forbidden scriptures, lost worlds buried beneath history itself. What if the Bible contains secrets humanity still cannot fully explain? Welcome to Echoes of Revelation. Explore the unknown.